You still got those things in your phone? You ain't get a new phone yet?
You ain't updated the SIM card yet?
Hey, y'all. It's your girl, Nadia.
And it's me, Coach T.
And we are two average people. We
Yes,
got
we
another hot topic today that we want to talk about. And I know y'all heard about that whole situation with Jonah Hill.
Jonah Hill is being canceled for setting boundaries. Let me know what you think. Sarah Brady, his ex, who may or may not be related to Tom Brady, blasted him on IG stories, calling him a misogynistic narcissist for setting these boundaries. In a text message, Jonah Hill said that if you need to surf with men, have boundaryless inappropriate friendships with men, to model, to post pictures of yourself in a bathing suit, to post sexual pictures, or have friendships with women who are in an unstable place and from your wild recent past, beyond getting lunch or coffee or something respectful, then I am not the right partner for you. Is this setting boundaries or just being misogynistic?
Wow. Yeah. Well, first we need to add the fact that this came out 2 years after all of this actually happened. So that's like the first problem. But before we jump into that, let's talk about the issue at hand. All right. So the question he asks is it setting boundaries or being misogynistic? I'm sorry. I think boundaries are good. But here's the problem that I have with this. Most of the boundaries that people set, they're not willing to follow.
All right. Let's talk about it.
So, like, let's take one of them, the last one, for example. He says, having friendships with women who are in unstable places and from your wild recent past beyond getting a lunch or coffee or something respectful. I'm sorry, that's completely arbitrary. That's clearly based on some situation or some involvement that I had with a friend that you disagree with, sure. But now you're telling me that I can't have friendships with unstable women, which means you determine what's unstable.
That's true, but I don't necessarily think, like you said, you determine what's unstable. But I think that's exactly what he's trying to do. I think he's trying to determine what is unstable.
But what if I don't think it's that friend is unstable?
Then apparently you can go.
So you're pretty much telling me that you get to pick who I'm friends with.
Well,
or the relationship is over.
Well, I think what he's trying to say is the friends that you keep affect you more than you realize. And if you're going to keep people who are going to affect you more than you realize around you, let's not get too deep into this in the first place. Which I think feels to me more like a boundary than a command.
No, it feels like you're telling me pick them or pick you. That's not quite a boundary. That's an ultimatum to me. Because if you're telling me that, yeah, so-and-so is, what you said is not necessarily incorrect. Maybe she doesn't see that these friends are not necessarily best for her, right? And he does. And so he's pointing them out. But you're telling me, I see this, you don't. Pick them or pick me. And then you're limiting what I can do with them, a lunch or a coffee.
Well, or something respectful is what he said.
Or something respectful.
Which means that he is aware of a past that he's willing to look past and understand, although not repeat. That's what it sounds like. So how does he get that across?
He says, hey, you have these friends. I think they're very unhealthy for you. Okay. And I think you should really reconsider the type of relationships that you want to have with some of your friends. Here's why. This is what I've noticed. This is what I've noticed. This is what I've noticed. Obviously, it is your life, but I can't watch you be brought down by some of these friends. And so I'm bringing this to your attention. But that's it. But this is more than that. This is saying, oh, you either let this go, do this, or else I'm not the right person for you. Now, he may get to that point where he's like, you know what? Your relationships are really affecting our relationship, and these are the things. But you can't now tell me don't have these friends. Like, to me, that is, it has to be more than that. Like, you can say, I just don't really like the person you have become because of these situations. Right. Before you, I don't know, you took better care of yourself. You watched, you involved yourself with healthy activities, you whatever the case may be, and now I'm watching you've quit school, you don't even go to the gym anymore.
Because that happens.
That happens, right? And I think it's
a man trying to avoid that from happening, because that when it happens to a man in a relationship with a woman and she does that, it slows him down too,
right? And
which slows down everything, including the productivity, money making things that he's got going on. Not that she couldn't have on her own, but it slows his down because everything is slowed down,
right?
Because a man goes into protection mode and then tries to, fend off those things, but he can't fight this and build that at the same time.
Right.
It's got to be one or the other.
Exactly. And so coming to it from that approach says, look, I'm saying this is right now, it's not working for me.
Right.
I want to see you do better. I want to see you do this, but telling me I can't and I shouldn't, and that seems like an ultimatum. That's no different than you saying, okay, well, I'm going to be 35 by January 23rd. And so if you don't marry me by then, and then by October we don't get pregnant, then I just am going to have to move on. I'm not the woman for you. Like,
I get that.
All a man is going to hear is, oh gosh, if I don't marry her, I'm going to lose her.
That's true.
That's true. It's not, ultimatums are not cool. Now, I'm not going to say he's necessarily misogynistic per se, but I don't consider this boundaries. I consider these more ultimatums. Choose that or choose me. And I guarantee you, if she went to him with the same list, that wasn't going to fly.
I'm not going to hold you. Women do that all the time. So I hear you, but I don't necessarily agree, because that happens constantly to a man.
Doesn't make it right.
And that's true, but it does happen.
Yeah,
and in the same way, we kind of get, well, what you going to do? Because what else are you going to do? I mean, that happens.
Right. I was listening to a woman's perspective on this the other day. Can we watch it real quick?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Time for a little therapy session of our own, because I am here to defend Jonah Hill after his ex, Sarah Brady, called him an emotionally abusive misogynist for trying to set some boundaries in their relationship. As we all know, boundaries are absolutely necessary to make both sides feel secure and comfortable. The things that Jonah was asking from his girlfriend did not seem to be something so crazy. He was asking her not to post videos and pictures of herself surfing in thongs. That's totally fine. He's not saying don't pursue your passion of surfing. Just please, if you're going to post it in an attempt to promote yourself, do it in something a little more modest. In my opinion, totally acceptable. B, do not have relationships without boundaries with men. Also acceptable, because let's be honest, not everybody has the same motive. And most men, I will say from personal experience, are looking to be more than your friend. Okay, so also something just to be mindful of. C, not to be having relationships with women who are unstable. Also fine. He's not saying don't go to your best friend's house when she needs a shoulder to cry on because she just broke up with her boyfriend. He's saying don't put yourself in positions where you're going to be influenced by the wrong types of people. That's not the kind of girl I want in my life. I see nothing wrong with what happened here. I am Team Jonah Hill all the way. And if you ask me, this is nothing more than a play for attention, because the timing of her releasing these texts is very odd. They occurred in 2021. Why, 2 years later, are you just now releasing them?
Okay, well, I agree with her last point.
I mean,
I agree with her last point.
See, this now. Then let's talk about it now, because one of the things that really stands out to me in everything that was said or brought up was the very, very last sentence. And that was, my boundaries with you based on the ways these actions have hurt our trust. It sounds very clear to me that he's pointing directly to something he's trying to overlook and or get past. Also, let's just be honest. Most people sit down and have conversations about these topics. So if he took the time to write it out, starting with plain and simple, he very well could be a misogynist who just demands his woman act a particular way, and it's going to be his way or the highway. Or it could be that they've had this conversation so many times and he's tried to say what he's tried to say in so many ways that he's just trying to be as simple and direct as possible. Now, to me and to many men, we see that as the communication that women have been asking us for the entire time. He's trying to communicate. He's been trying to communicate, because most people don't write this kind of topic down and just shoot a text. That doesn't make sense. No one starts there. You know what I'm saying? So this is a conversation to me that's probably been had more than one time during their time.
Yeah.
And in him trying to look past certain things, he's saying, I am willing to do that so that ABC 1, 2, 3 can happen. Now, him looking past the thing could be him looking past her history. Mm-hmm. Now, that could be from a misogynistic place, I guess. But we can't say for sure that it is misogynistic.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. And I think you did really provide some context to the situation. And that is that we have to remember that this clearly is based on some history that they've had, right? History. We don't know how this started. We don't know if there's some infidelity involved or some questionable actions that have happened that has led him to the point where it's like, okay, plain and simple, this is where we need to create the boundary. If we can't do this, then hey, we have no idea. And so it's really great that you brought that up, babe, because we can't say, okay, he just met her and 6 months later, he's like, hey, all of these things. Right. And like, this is clearly based on the list here. This is clearly something that they've probably been dealing with for some time. Now, I totally agree with her last statement in the clip that why are you bringing this up 2 years later, right? So is this an effort to now once again just say all men are insecure, all men are misogynistic because they actually have an opinion or they've created a boundary, right? We're so quick to jump to gaslighting and insecurities and misogynists. Hold on. Like, slow down, let's slow down. Either men or women.
Slow down.
There is more to the story, right? So could he be misogynistic? Sure. Right? But I'm not saying he is or he isn't. What I'm saying is let's not just jump to that just because somebody did something the way that you wouldn't think is the right way to do it, right?
Because at the end of the day, let's say he was insecure, right? Mm-hmm. This is the right way to handle that. Communication. Well, he may be trying and he may be failing, but nobody asked for perfect communication. What they asked for was communication. And he has to attempt a thing to see if it's going to work. And if it don't, it don't. But the point is, if we want communication, we have to be willing to hear it and accept it. We can't demonize it the minute we get it simply because it's convenient to do so.
Okay, so you first said if he was insecure, this would be the way to handle it. I say to you, deal with your insecurity.
I'm saying,
why do I have to now be responsible for your insecurity in our relationship?
You don't have to be responsible for my insecurity, but if you're going to be in a relationship with me, you have to accept my attempts at communication.
Okay. All right. I mean,
or else this is just slavery.
I mean, okay. This is where the argument is. He is communicating, but could he have communicated better?
He have communicated better?
We don't know if he tried.
We don't know if he tried. We don't know.
We don't really know. All we know is what we have, on the internet. And so this could be, hey, this is what it is. I've talked to you about this already. Let me make it plain. Or else we just need to go our separate ways. And clearly they didn't.
Because clearly these are based on actions that have hurt their trust in the past.
Right.
Also, I'm not going to let us skip past the part. What's today's date?
Today is Friday, July 14th.
2023. This text is from December 2nd, 2021. That's 2 years later. So, wait. Well, you were just holding this one, huh? You just took a screenshot and put it in a folder just in case. This whole thing seems very odd. It feels like it's just there to make him look bad on occasion that he is in a good time in his life. Like maybe we're just trying to knock him down a peg or two.
Don't forget, money is always a part of it.
Money is always a part of it.
We don't know how much she got paid.
Fame is easy to come by. I'm just saying, at the end of the day,
don't know.
This doesn't feel like it's about their relationship. She doesn't seem that broke up about
2 years later. Right. And if you're broke up 2 years later about their relationship, girl, you need help.
You should have probably just not taken the damn pictures with the surfer guys and just left the whole
just
thing
like
alone.
You still got those things in your phone. You ain't get a new
guy.
phone yet.
Facts. You ain't updated the SIM card yet. I'm sorry.
Like,
that's terrible.
You know your phone ain't lasting more than 2 years. Why you still got that? I'm sorry. We gonna be serious.
It's terrible. That's terrible. That's terrible.
But no, seriously, I really want to know what you guys think about this one, because like I really can see both sides. I mean, I'm still leaning to this seems like an ultimatum type thing.
I don't know. It feels like a boundary to me. I feel like women these days, not necessarily on the whole, but a lot of women in today's day and age are not used to hearing even a man at all. So a man with boundaries feels very attacking, because of course it would.
And again, if it was flipped,
if
I
it's flipped
said
all the
that
time,
to him,
it's flipped all the time. Men
if I
hear these
said
type
that
of
to
things
him,
all the
I think
time.
it would be like, oh no, yeah, she's setting her boundaries.
There's
Go ahead, girl.
Reddit threads,
so we have to like really
YouTube videos about every woman's boundaries, what she will and won't accept. I made a list. They're everywhere. There are women's lists about it. There's magazine articles about what women will and won't accept. We get this all the time. This is how we relate to you.
Because we have boundaries.
That's true. All I'm saying is, if you have boundaries, why am I saying the same thing and being considered anything else but boundaries?
Because I mean,
it feels kind of targeted. All I'm saying.
Hey y'all, as you can see, we don't agree on everything, right? So
let's hash it out.
Let's talk about this. I want to talk about this. We don't agree.
Hash it out.
Coach T thinks it's boundaries. I think it's an ultimatum. What do you guys think? Boundaries versus ultimatum. Let us know. We definitely want to hear from y'all. We are going to catch you next time. And remember, we're better together.
With boundaries.
Ultimatum.